Today's conference is titled Building an Affordable New York. The need to do so presents a formidable challenge to us, but you're up to the job. Invest today in re-energizing yourself and your organization for the work as we produce and preserve affordable housing in New York. We're honored today to have the CEO of Citigroup, a platinum sponsor, as our keynote speaker. To introduce him, we have Richard Gerowitz, Managing Director of Citi Community Capital. Richard has a special talent for bringing disparate interests from inside and outside Citi together in collaboration to solve complex issues and meet goals. Richard Gerowitz. Have fun. That part's scary.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to look at myself. Thank you, Duncan. Good morning, everybody. Let me add my welcome on behalf of Citi and Citi Community Capital to the conference. We're pleased to be able to sponsor the general session this year and look forward to a productive and informative meeting. Like many of you, I attend a lot of conferences throughout the year around the country, and I've got to tell you, from all the conferences we participate in, there are none that match NYSAFA in terms of the breadth and depth of the material presented or the audience that it attracts and brings here into this room. As Duncan so ably said, I pretty much do everything at Citi with the exception of credit, which they don't let me take care of. But really, today I am here for only one purpose, and that's that I have the pleasure to introduce Vikram Pandit, the Chief Executive Officer of Citigroup. Vikram is a veteran of the financial services industry with a depth and breadth of experience that few can match. After earning his PhD at Columbia, he joined Morgan Stanley, where he rose to become president and chief operating officer of their institutional securities and investment banking businesses and a member of the firm's management committee. Following his time at Morgan, Vikram co-founded Old Lane Partners, a hedge fund that was acquired by Citi in 2007. With that acquisition, Mr. Pandit joined Citi, becoming chairman and CEO of Citi's Institutional Clients Group. In December of 2007, he was named CEO of Citigroup. Since taking the helm, Vikram has led the company through a major restructuring and helped navigate it through the toughest market in decades. Under his leadership, we are returning to our roots as America's global bank and recommitting ourselves to the practice of responsible finance. With the goals of long-term profitability and fueling economic recovery and growth, Vikram is building a new Citi centered on our historic strengths and competitive advantages, our strong franchise, unique emerging markets footprint, and innovative spirit. As a result of this restructuring and hard work of our talented colleagues, Citi is today a very different company than at the start of Vikram's tenure. It is among the strongest banks in the world by the most critical measures of capital and liquidity and has shown a profit for 5 straight quarters. And most gratifying to him and to all of us at Citi has been the repayment of the American taxpayers' TARP investment with a substantial return. Vikram's strategy has put Citi in a position to emerge from the economic crisis as a leader in the financial services industry and a major promoter of global growth. Mr. Pandit serves on the board of Columbia University, Columbia Business School, and the Indian School of Business. He is also a former board member of NASDAQ, the New York City Investment Fund, and the American Indian Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vikram Pandit.
Richard, thank you. My God, what a wonderful introduction. It's nice to see all of you, and I want to start by acknowledging our New York State Housing Commissioner, Darrell Towns. Commissioner, thank you for all you do for the state, and we look forward to working with you. And thank you all for working so tirelessly to provide New Yorkers with quality and affordable housing. And especially during this time of economic difficulty, it's important for the public and private sectors to combine resources, knowledge, and experience to help as many Americans as possible find good housing and realize the American dream. And we at Citi take this challenge very seriously. We consider our work to expand access to housing and to support public projects to be a part of our commitment to responsible finance. Before we enter into any transaction, we ask ourselves three questions. Is it in the interest of our customer? Is it systemically responsible? And does this create economic value? And the answer has to be yes in all three respects before we do the transaction. And the answer is yes in the case of all the projects that I want to talk to you about today. Responsible finance is a core part of Citi's broader transformation of the last 3 years. Our priority in restructuring our company has been to get back to the basics of banking, which is to serve the real economy. And there is no more fundamental or basic responsibility than lending. Our commitment to responsible finance and the basics of banking means supporting projects that serve the public. Last year alone, just 1 year, our company provided more than $5.5 billion to projects and communities all across the country, including more than $3 billion in lending to support affordable housing and community development, as well as $2.5 billion in community development investments. And of that amount, Citi invested more than $2 billion in the preservation and development of affordable rental housing in this city and in this state, which has been our home for nearly 200 years. Also last year, our public finance department underwrote $60 billion in municipal bonds nationally, and $7 billion of that in New York State, where we were the #1 underwriter of public finance projects. Now, I cite these numbers not necessarily to boast, but to demonstrate how committed Citi is to affordable housing and public finance, both because we know it's a good business opportunity, but also because we believe that it's important to invest in the communities in which we live and work. We've maintained that commitment throughout the financial crisis, and we have reorganized our business to better serve communities in New York and around the country. Here's what I want to do today. I want to talk to you about three things. First, I see some potential policy concerns on the horizon that may impact our and other banks' ability to promote affordable housing. Second, I want to talk about the way Citi has reorganized our efforts to practice public finance. And then finally, thirdly, I want to describe some of the most exciting projects that we're a part of. As to the first, it's no secret that government support for affordable housing is critical to the success of many of the most crucial projects. It's also no secret that the recession has hurt revenues and put additional strain on budgets at all levels. The economic growth model that prevailed before the crisis resulted in the accumulation of too much public and private debt. The country has to work its way through this issue and address it in a forthright manner. And I've got to tell you, I don't have a simple solution, but I do hope that any enacted reforms will prioritize growth and encourage investments in our communities. So along with this group, Citi will continue to argue forcefully that affordable housing should continue to be a priority in Washington, in Albany, and at City Hall. I want to especially commend New York State and the Bloomberg administration for continuing to support affordable housing during this recession. Another policy challenge is that the latest round of regulatory reform, specifically new rules that require higher capital levels for banks, might further tighten credit. In the wake of the crisis, there was a rush to impose new financial regulation unlike anything we've seen since the Great Depression. And there's no question that the rules governing the financial system were in need of real reform. I'm fond of saying that we were running high-speed trains on a track system that was built more than 60 years ago. But in addition to these outdated rules, the industry also strayed from its traditional products and consistent underwriting standards that were historically part and parcel of both affordable housing projects and the mortgage industry as a whole. As real estate prices continued their upward trend, and as government continued to prioritize home ownership, terms and conditions eroded, and we all know the result. Citi supported many of these reforms, and we were one of the strongest proponents for regulatory reform for the financial sector. That said, many of the new rules may have unintended consequences of financial inclusion, including our combined efforts to provide affordable housing. Requiring banks to hold more capital than is necessary to protect the system will constrict their ability to lend. Similarly, the way that some new regulations will require banks to calibrate risk will force banks to lend to borrowers who need the credit most at much higher rates or not at all. Fortunately, the book is not closed on regulatory change. The Dodd-Frank bill is law, but the rules that implement it are still being written. The Basel Committee on International Banking Reform continues to deliberate as well. I believe that we will ultimately find the right balance between systemic safety and financial inclusion, but it's important that we all make our voices heard. At Citi, we considered this challenge in its entirety a call to action for both Citi, but also for our industry. And that's why we've taken action to restructure our business, including our overall community investment operation. That gets me to the second thing I want to talk about, which is the way Citi has streamlined our own efforts in this area. Historically, the financing of affordable housing has been a patchwork process. The resulting inefficiencies hampered the banking industry's ability to provide the most amount of credit possible at the best possible prices. In response to this, 3 years ago, we put under one roof all those parts of our company that lend to affordable housing projects and invest in communities. Citi Community Capital makes construction loans, finances long-term lending for affordable housing projects, manages our low-income housing tax credit equity and new market tax credits, and also lends to CDFIs. It's today all one team with one bottom line and one risk infrastructure. This streamlining has allowed us to work effectively on a variety of unique transactions, which brings me to the third point that I want to talk about today. We've at Citi embarked on a range of some very terrific projects in recent years. In 2010, the New York City Housing Development Corporation executed a unique, highly structured transaction to generate funding for project renovation and to secure an additional $70 million in annual operating subsidies from the federal government. In this project, Citi worked closely with NYCHA, HPD, and HDC to close the largest, both in terms of units financed and bond amount, and the most complex single project multifamily rental transaction ever structured. The transaction was financed by Citi with a tax credit equity contribution of $210 million, the commitment to purchase $366 million of private equity bonds, and the issuance of over $450 million in letters of credit. Citi Community Capital is also the equity sponsor behind the $100 million New York Affordable Housing Preservation Fund. This is a fund that's managed by our friends at L&M Development. The fund's goal is to help finance the preservation and rehabilitation of more than 2,000 affordable apartments, both in New York City, but also the surrounding communities over the next 3 years. And right here on 25th Street and 9th Avenue, just a little bit more than a mile away from here, the Elliott Chelsea A 22-story, 168-unit mixed-income rental building with ground floor retail is being constructed with the help of Citi Community Capital's diverse set of resources and relationships. And as Freddie Mac's mortgage banker, Citi is also providing a $41.4 million construction period letter of credit. Our investment in New York isn't limited to just the 5 boroughs. Citi is also providing a $6.3 million construction loan, and it's investing $10.8 million in low-income housing tax credit rehabilitation for 2 buildings that make up the YWCA residence for women in White Plains. This residence is the only permanent housing residence for women in Westchester County that offers full-time support to women who are economically disadvantaged and are coping with the effects of domestic violence, substance abuse, mental and physical illness. But our commitment extends beyond housing. We are the lead underwriter for the Buffalo Public Schools Reconstruction Program. This is a $1.4 billion capital improvement initiative that is transforming Buffalo's public schools into 21st century learning centers. This ambitious program became a reality when Citi was selected to develop an entirely new way of financing school construction in New York State. The results have been absolutely extraordinary, as Buffalo has completed remarkable structural and technological upgrades in nearly every school in the district. And by 2013, every child in the district will be learning in a beautifully renovated school. We're involved in countless other development projects, large and small, really too many to discuss here. But before closing, there is one more that I really want to talk about, and it's our work to help rebuild Lower Manhattan following the terrorist attacks of almost 10 years ago. We were selected by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to lead the landmark financing of One World Trade Center, the Freedom Tower, plus the retail components of the World Trade Center site and other site-wide infrastructure. If you've seen the plans for this project, you'll know how impressive they are. New York's tallest skyscraper, topping 1,776 feet, 3 million square feet of office space, a grand public lobby, and much, much more. We've been working with the Port Authority on financing this project since our appointment as the lead underwriter in 2008. We've issued $1.6 billion in bonds so far. We've also donated $10 million towards the construction of the 9/11 Memorial. And as a New York-based bank, we're thrilled to be part of this effort, and I can't wait to see the finished project. I've been quite honored to be asked to speak today. I am grateful to have been asked to speak to you today and to be able to share with you not only my thoughts on the broader issues surrounding housing, but also to talk about some specific projects that we're part of. We're going to continue to do what we can at Citi to provide New Yorkers with homes that they love and they can afford. Thank you once again. I hope you have a great day. It's our pleasure at Citi to support everybody in this room. Thank you very much.